The seminar will begin soon. Please have your good positions as convenient as possible. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Rabbana barik lana fi kulli umurina. Rabbana barik lana fi kulli makan wa fi kulli zaman. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma warzuqna fahma. Allahumma ftah lana hikmataka wansur alaina rahmataka min khazaini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. All praises to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Excellency, our Head Department of English Department, Ibu Apipah Lindasari M.Ed, the respectable all lecturers and functionaries of English Department of Antasari State Islamic University Banjarmasin, and the honorable all participants in this webinar. I am Muhammad Arinal Rahman, the moderator of today's seminar. I am very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this seminar. Today, we are going to talk about reinforcing research methodology in English language teaching. As we know that research methodology is very important in the end of the study in our English department, where all the students need to complete a thesis with a proper research methodology. However, we know that there are many issues dealt by students because they have no strong basic or fundamental information or knowledge about research methodology. As a result, most of them stuck in the part of chapter 3 in their writing progress. Frankly speaking, today we are very lucky. We have a very special guest from UIN Ar-Raniry Banda Aceh, an expert that will inspire you all here. Please welcome Professor Dr. Teuku Zulfikar SAG M.Ed. Okay, so I will explain short introductions about our guest today, about the Professor Teuku Zulfikar. He is a senior lecturer of the Department of Language Education in the Faculty of Educational Science. Now he is also a Deputy Director of Postgraduate Study in UIN Ar-Raniry. Professor Zulfikar, for your information, guys, that he earned a PhD from Monash University in Australia in the Language, Cultural, and Education Studies. He also completed 2 master's degrees, one from Ohio University in the US and one from Monash University. So he got 2 master's degrees. Yeah, he also continued his study, postdoctoral fellowships in Western Sydney and several short courses in Griffith University and Australian National University. So we know that our guest today is really traveler, yeah? Had visited many countries like Australia and America, and yeah, many experience study in several universities. Yeah, another informations that really interesting about him also, he is also a reviewer, panel member, editor, and language advisor in many institutions and organizations of journal and in national and international scope. So we really lucky to have him today. And several information also, he also joined in many organizations like Elite, Taplin, and many other organizations about English studies, yeah, English education. So if you want to contact him, you can email him Zulfikar at r-raniry.ac.id. Okay, so that it's a short introductions about our guest today. Yeah, I hope this will inspire you and trigger your motivations. Well, before the presentation start from him, we will have a very good motivation too from our head of English department, Ibu Apipah Lindasari. Okay, so this time for Ibu Apipah, I will give the time to you.
Thank you very much Bapak Arinal as the moderator. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in wa ala umuri dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. The Honorable Professor Dr. Teuku Zulfikar M.Ed from UIN Ar-Raniry Aceh as our speaker today. The Honorable the Secretary of English Education Department, Ibu Hidayah Nur MPD. The Honorable the lecturers who join with this agenda, distinguished participants, and all my beloved students from English Education Department, UIN Antasari Banjarmasin. Alhamdulillah, all the praises to Allah the Almighty. We can meet virtually with the special agenda in Ramadan presented by English Education Department of UIN Antasari Banjarmasin, namely TADARUS Akademik. The series of TADARUS Akademik is started today and will be held once a week during Ramadan for reinforcing research methodology in English language teaching. And today we are so glad to have Professor Zulfikar as the speaker in this beautiful occasion. Thank you very much, Prof, for receiving our invitation. Then the next Friday, we will discuss with Ibu Galuh from UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang related to the narrative inquiry. And for the 5th of April, we will discuss quantitative designs in language teaching research with Ibu Fitriah from UIN Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. I do hope from this agenda you can learn many things dealing with research methodology, and also you can get new insight for the next research will be. Yeah, because for your information, for my students untuk mendapatkan predikat pujian pada kelulusan nanti, itu mahasiswa tidak hanya dituntut untuk menyelesaikan skripsi, tetapi juga harus submit artikel pada jurnal, dan untuk lulusan terbaik juga diutamakan yang mampu menyelesaikan studinya dalam waktu singkat, yakni paling cepat itu 3,5 tahun. Sehingga Ibu berharap kalian juga bisa dan bersungguh-sungguh untuk mendapatkan hasil yang terbaik ya. So that will be all for the remarks. Enjoy this agenda. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Ibu. Now we are going to go to the next agenda. So that is the presentations. So now it's time for our guest to deliver his presentation. So everybody, please pay attention, and if you have a question, prepare it, because after this we will have a question and answer. So now allow me to welcome the speaker, Professor Zulfikar, to make his presentations. Professor Zulfikar, please, the time is yours.
All right, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah, nahmadu wa nasta'inuh. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah, asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd. I would like to just cross-check. Is it the participants are the students or the lecturer? Bu Afifah.
Between students and lecturers, Prof.
Okay, but most of the students
Yeah.
are, most of the participants are lecturers. Okay.
Are the students
because I have two materials. So if most of the participants are the students, then I would like to pick up the material they already prepared for the students. Actually, I already prepared for some other event, and I think I just try to use this material with some adjustments to give share some experience and knowledge with all of us here at UIN Antasari. First of all, I would like to apologize. I gotta just get cough in the morning, batuk dari pagi, so I just feel not really, my voice is not really clear. So please, just let me know if you don't feel like you're listening to my or hearing my voice so clearly. Allow me to share the material then. Okay. All right. So do you see my screen or no? Okay, good. All right. Bu Afifah and Pak Arinal, actually I have another material they already prepared for these sessions, but then I realized that most of the students are coming to the Zoom meeting, so I'll just pick up this one, which is the qualitative inquiries research trend for BA thesis, means for Bachelor of Arts thesis or Bachelor of Education thesis. Okay, so let me. Okay, to all my students and the participant of our seminar, here what we'll have to talk about, just very short actually, of first writing the BA thesis and then methodologies, and then the survey, our survey, and then the qualitative inquiries, and then research trends in writing thesis. So I think if those students would like to pay attention on these presentations, you can see what types of methodologies and also research problem that most students have written so far. As mentioned by Pak Arinal before, that most of the students getting problem in getting problems, right? They're having problem in generating research problems. So I think this presentation will help you identifying your research problem and then write your thesis, and later on you can get pujian in the munakashah later on. Okay, let me start. How do you start the thesis actually? Most of the students ask about this question actually. How they start, how to start writing thesis. There's a very good book, one that I used in my class, research method and approach in language research, something like that. I have the e-book if you want me to share later on. So it mentions how we start getting the research ideas at the first time. Okay. First, getting started, how to start writing thesis. Of course, you need to collect ideas for a thesis. All right. In our university, Bu Afifah, in our department, we have like 3 courses for research methodology. Pertama, metodologi penelitian, that's for the general things, and then we have introduction to ELT in research, and then we have practical research in ELT. So in the introduction to research in ELT, the students are trained to collect the ideas for their thesis. So they need to have 3 perspective or 3 alternative titles, and then they need to discuss with their academic advisors, with PA, and then they have to submit to the department to be decided which titles is chosen for them by the department. So in introduction to ELT, they have to write or they have to draft their research proposal. So they can catch up a bit earlier when they need to finish their 4 years or 3.5 years. I think the 4 years is the ideal length of the learning. And then, okay, of course you need to pick up an advisor. Picking an advisors, we cannot pick the advisors here. At UIN, our culture is di budaya kita, we cannot pick up the advisor. That's what happened in Ar-Raniry and Antasari. I think the department assigned the advisors. but at least we can, what we call it, I mentioned to my students, if you want to be advised or supervised by certain lecturer, so you need to write something that related to that person's expertise. Say, for example, if someone want to be supervised by Pak Arinal, for example, so the student, you need to find out what Pak Arinal expertise is and what kind of journal article that he have written so far. So ketika you pilih itu, maka the department of course will assign Pak Arinal to be your supervisor. So that's the way we did it here in Indonesia actually. But in overseas, we certainly can pick up our advisor. In postgraduate school, like in S3, we can pick up the advisors, right? But not for the bachelor. And then, of course, you write a proposal, and then starting background reading on your topic. How to start? In the background, you need to read on your topic. Maka, I told my students, if you got 3 titles, so you have to find out at least 5 articles related to each of the titles. There's one way that we can develop our sense of the topic. For the students, maybe you need to think about this. And for us also, the lecturer, when we need to write the research proposal for like pusat penelitian di kampus, for example, in Dimas. So of course you need to read more reading on your topic, and then taking useful note on your readings, of course, and then turning broad ideas into sharply defined thesis topics. It's only kind of here I just give the overview of what you're going to do. Areas of interest, questions you have about it, about the area of interest, well equipped or not. If expert of the area available, take some relevant courses. What does it mean for the student? Pertama, for the student, maybe I don't know the structures of the curriculum in Antasari, but at least you need to determine what your interest is. Kalau you tidak tahu mau meneliti tentang apa, you need to know, for example, you like about skill, English skill, reading, listening, or some others, or you like into the linguistic kind of things, or literature. And then if you have that kind of interest, ask question about it. What kind of questions you ask, whether you are able to do that or not, whether you have knowledge about that or not. Because sometimes we only have an interest, we like it, but we don't know whether we know it or not. Kadang-kadang kita suka saja dengan research problem tertentu, but we are not ready for that actually. And then the next question that we need to ask, if expert of the area available or not. Say for example, if the student pick up a linguistic kind of thing, apakah ada dosen in Antasari, for example, yang very interestnya di linguistics yang bisa supervise the student, and then take some relevant courses. Of course, ambil mata kuliah metodologi penelitian. Okay, hold on. Okay, the plans. Ini for the students. Ini give. Makanya mohon maaf for the lecturer, maybe it's not really relevant to you. I pick up the material yang relevant to the student because as I understand from the opening ceremony, I saw most of the students are here in the Zoom meeting. This is to do list plans. And for the students, idea generations or collecting ideas, how you collect the ideas, considering prospective supervisors. Say, for example, you don't like Ibu Afifah, for example, you students, don't even find the topic related to her expertise, because certainly you will be assigned to Ibu Afifah. So that's why that is the thing that you need to do. Perlu teknik kecerdikan di situ, because you cannot reject or refuse if one particular lecturer have been assigned to you to become your supervisors. There's no way that you can say no. So that's why do some trick at the beginning, right? And then concept and sketch writing proposal, and then starting background reading on your topic, and then taking useful note on your reading, turning broad ideas into sharply defined thesis topic. Kenapa ini saya ulang yang tadi? you see data ada first, second, third, six, about 6. Ini first month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, and sixth month. So the 6 month in one semester, you already at least go for it. I mean, 6 bulan kita tulis tesis ya di sekolah, apa di kampus kita, at least 6 months ya, or 1 year. Or kalaupun terlalu malas mungkin 2 years or 2.5 years. Yeah, it's up to you. That's your choice. Yeah, some students are so happy with their department. Terlalu senang melihat Ibu Afifah, mungkin mereka mau lama-lama kuliahnya ya. Okay, and then all right, a good thesis questions. This is what I say. Ini all students and also for all of us actually. Never ask the title for your the title of the thesis or the theme of the thesis to your lecturer. Atau jangan pernah bertanya, saya mau nulis tentang apa sih? Kasih saya satu judul lah. You don't do that because even when you do that, the research problem doesn't come genuinely from your interest actually. Makanya a good thesis question adalah it should genuinely interest you. Kemudian, it should concern something you want to understand better. It should be something you can study well. Good question from the basis of interesting thesis. So good questions, good question, research questions. Research question is very important because sometimes the students use research questions related to quantitative, but actually they like qualitative. When they say, when you ask question, to what extent does blah 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 blah, this is very quantitative. You cannot explore in qualitative if you ask that kind of questions. And then you say the impact, how much the impact of this into that one. So research questions really matters for your thesis actually. If you don't like and you don't know about quantitative like me, myself, I don't really understand quantitative. I mentioned to Ibu Afifah, it's not my place, it's not my thing. Qualitative is not my thing as well, but I know it a bit better than quantitative. So that's why you need to really manage your research question. Kalau bertanya tentang dampak, it should be quantitative. You ask about perception, it should be quantitative. What is the perception of blah 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 into what is the impact of this into so something that's quantitative, some quali, some quanti. So that's why you really need to pay attention on your research questions. Okay, the final step, this is the most important thing, not only for the student but for us, the lecturer, also find it difficult to fill the gap of the research. So research, previous study bisa bermakna two things. Previous study can make your research become look better, and can make your research look ugly, quote unquote. If you have research a previous study, and then you review the previous study, but you don't fill in the gap, that will reduce the what we call that will make your research look ugly. Because why should you do the research while some other people have done similar research? But then when you review the research, the previous study, and then you fill in the gap, you draw the gap between the previous study and your study, that would make your study look better. Ini yang sering to best of my knowledge selama menjadi dosen, I found most of the students fail to draw the gap between the previous study and their study. Okay, and then refining your introduction and conclusion, editing and polishing the whole thesis. Makanya for the students, don't give draft to your supervisor. Okay, because if you give draft, the rough draft to your supervisor, that will give a very bad impression for them about you. Jadi kalau first impression itu sudah tidak bagus, then will affect the rest of the semester. Oleh karena itu, try to edit and polish the whole thesis together with your friend. You got some friend, you got some partner, you have classmate to share the ideas and also the thesis. Okay, the methodologies. Ini hasil sedikit tentang survei, my survey, I found yang banyak ditulis oleh mahasiswa tentang experimental research. But the ironic is, most of them do not know the experimental research, but most of them write experimental research. You know, I don't know what happening in Antasari, tapi in my university, and I went to some other campus and I did research and I asked the professors, kira-kira apa sih yang ditulis oleh mahasiswa? Kebanyakan mereka menulis experimental research, but at the same time, they don't have sufficient ability in experimental research. Nah, bayangkan itu ya. And some case study, and then goes into narrative study, introspective research, phenomenology, and correlational studies. So once when I was the head of the department, once I stopped students to write thesis in experimental research for a couple of years, because most of them only copy from their friends and then they modify it and then make their own research, which is not very likely that we need to have that, right? And then I stop it for a couple of years, and then I go with the narrative study. I go with case study. I ask them to write the qualitative study. But then most of students write about qualitative studies, speaking anxiety, writing something similar, almost all the times. So then maybe it's time for me to go back to the experimental study, you know, because sometimes students try to copy what their friends have written. Okay, this is also my survey. Saya bertanya ke 27 Kaprodi. I don't know if I send the survey to you, Bu Afifah, but this saya kirim ke Kaprodi, PBI, in UIN and EIN all over. Did I share this to you? Atau
Yes, Prof. You
Did
have
you-
sent to me. Yeah,
okay.
I have filled the
What
survey.
did you answer?
Qualitative case study.
Oh, qualitative
Survey,
case study. All right.
yeah.
If you see here, 55.6% itu experimental research. Okay. 29.6 qualitative case study and 14.8% survey research. Ini hasil yang I sent the survey couple of months ago. 27 Kaprodi berarti. Ya, termasuk I went to UNESA, Universitas Negeri Surabaya, and I found similar thing. Most of the students write experimental research. I went to WINSA. Also, WINSA suggests the same things. Yeah. Right now, if you go to UIN Ar-Raniry, most of them write qualitative case study, just similar to Antasari. Okay. This some review of literature. Ini mungkin I don't know, students mungkin pernah mendownload ini. Published tahun 2017 oleh Erna F. Tanti, Arinal Sofia, Tulung Agung. From Tulung Agung, Research Trends of EFL Student in English Education Program, surveinya 2005 sampai 2015. Survei ini ya. Okay. Ini yang diambil dari tahun 2005, 21 thesis, and 2015 they get it 99 thesis. Jadi semuanya 450 thesis. BA thesis. I mean like S1. Yeah. 450 thesis, and then they try to see the findings, a trend on the research topic within the last 11 years, 2005 and 2016, and they got like talking about listening, there's a question and speaking, reading, writing. This is all about skill. People write about skills, and then vocabulary, and then grammar, ada juga pronunciations, and tidak ada pronunciations. Tapi yang terbanyak TEFL tentang teaching method. Nah, ini yang terbanyak tentang teaching methodology. Okay. Sorry. And most of them write for the question trend of research method employed in EFL students is writing. Most of them write descriptive qualitative 192, ada library studies, ada content research, ada experiment 79. Nah ini sama seperti di kampusnya Bu Afifah mungkin yang banyak case study ya. Jadi eksperimen cuma 79 hasil temuan dari, and we got R&D also five thesis writing R&D, research and development, and then classroom action research, comparative, descriptive, qualitative, quantitative, correlation, survey, experiment, content library, and qualitative paling banyak ya. Okay. And then I found another one, ini di luar negeri, overseas, a review of recent research in EFL motivation, research trend, emerging methodologies, and diversity of research populations. Dari kampus luar negeri ini, ada Czech Republic, ada London, and also ada Latvia, ya. Apa temuannya? Nah, qualitative method of data collection. Nah, mereka mengambil, ini saya melihat tentang data collection-nya, tentang method of data collection yang mereka pakai. Most of them use semi-structured interview, written activities, reflection, and photojournal. Nah, ini mungkin for next month dengan Pak Ibu Galuh, yang tentang narrative inquiry. Mungkin we'll go with this one, reflections. Written activities or reflection. As a narrative inquiry, you need to go with the reflections. You need to write yourself about yourself. Okay, that's a very good example of this kind of research narrative inquiry. My own article. You can download it later on. I share the link. I wrote an article from an active practitioner, from an active learner to a reflective practitioner. Published in the TQR, the qualitative report di tahun 2019. Okay. And then the review qualitative method of data analysis. Most of them use analysis of the text, and then thematic coding, and vivo, and transcriptions. And vivo is the software where we used to analyze the qualitative data. Dulu namanya Nudis namanya. Sebelum diganti menjadi Envivo, namanya Nudis. For a long time ago, 2003, they masih menggunakan Nudis, but now they use it Envivo. But not many people use it because the software is very expensive. Okay, and then research focus. Most of them write about learning and teaching approaches, and then write about motivation and other interactive variables, emotions, engagement, learning, environment, and attitudes. Some of them write about examining the relationship between motivation and motivational practices with an achievement. Now, if you see relationship, meaning that's quantitative. And that the relationship with my students, if you see seperti yang biru panjang besar ini, learning and teaching approaches, this could be you go with qualitative, you can go with the quantitative. Motivation and other interactive variables, emotion, engagement, learning, environment, and attitudes, it could be with the quantitative. Kemudian examining the relationship of motivation and motivational practices with achievement, you should go with quantitative mungkin. Jadi EFL motivation and background variable of the student. So you can see, makanya kenapa in almost all my presentations, I try to review some literature. Because that's the basis where we start doing the research. And in fact, my guru besar dalam bidang English language research. This is my functional in GB. So I need to really review some literature, new trends of the research, and some other things. Makanya ini, when I present it in front of the student, I try to show this so the student have some ideas of what kind of topics they're gonna use. Okay, and then research context, most of the student write university level and also secondary level sama. Ini dari artikelnya si Research Trends in Selected MA TESOL program in Taiwan, a preliminary content analysis of master thesis from 2003-2007. Ya, jadi ini artikel ini membahas tentang menganalisa apa sih yang ditulis oleh master thesis di 2003 sampai 2007 di Taiwan. Okay. Nah, ini yang ditulis. fokus ke language skill, teaching method and approaches, material and curriculum, and core. For the students, for the first step of getting your interest, you can look at this big thing actually. Pertama, you can say, okay, language skill mungkin, but then go with that, move on with the language skill. Okay, I want to choose this, and that, but you have the big theme at the first time. It's impossible in no way for you that you can get, you can pick up definite research problem in one time. It's impossible. Sama dengan teaching method and approaches. Nah, nanti Anda mengambil itu, and then you can try to understand apa sih ini kira-kira bagian dari teaching method and approaches. So that's why in my class, I always ask the student in the first meeting, what's your interest? What's your interest? And then I try to just say one word for the interest. Some of them say, okay, linguistic, Pak. Okay, linguistic. You, literature, Pak. And others, saya language skill, Pak. You, saya about teaching method, Pak. So from that big thing, we can then invite the student to break it up into small things. Yeah. Material and curriculum, for example. Ini berhubungan dengan mahasiswa-mahasiswa yang suka dengan kurikulum. They can choose this topic and then call computer assisted language learning. Kalau Anda yang suka dengan IT, yang berhubungan dengan students like how to use IT in the teachings, mereka bisa memilih call. Okay. Frequently investigated topics, if you see. Ini mahasiswa, for the student ini yang, and in fact, we lecturer kadang-kadang dosen bahasa Inggris, apa namanya, kehilangan arah untuk mencari research topic, right? Most of us sometimes go beyond around teaching methods, goes beyond narrative inquiry and some others. Kita sendiri sometimes we feel it difficult to find a research topic. Yeah. If you see, yang paling banyak language skills yang ditulis, and then teaching method, and then paling sedikit core curriculum and materials. But language skill kan tentu banyak yang bisa kita cari informasi. Say for example language skill, you can find something speaking anxiety, for example, material for language teachings, for example, material for speaking, material for, jadi you can combine the material topik di atas dengan language skill topik di bawah. So many things that people can do. Alright. Ini sedikit tentang qualitative inquiries. Ada ethnography, ada case study, grounded theory, and phenomenology. So you don't need to have this one. And for the students, there's no way we will go with the ethnography because it's too much to do with that, right? Paling case study atau grounded theory for us, the students. Okay, research trend, the language learning journal. Ini saya ambil dari the language learning journal. Apa research trend yang terjadi di ketika saya mereview jurnal language learning journal, I found banyak artikel yang ditulis di language learning journal berhubungan dengan teacher perceptions and learning engagement. Okay, and then self-efficacy and language learning, identity and language education, student and parent attitude toward language learning. Say for example, misalnya dosen-dosen yang mengajar research method, you can show this to the student. Okay, ask them. You can still hear my voice. Okay, ask them to explore. Ada apa dengan teachers' perception and learning engagement? So you can try to break it up. Bagi language research lecturer, you can also give identity and language education, which is not very popular with us. Di Indonesia tidak popular ini. Tapi ini menarik. Di luar negeri is very popular about identity kind of things. Yeah, you can write about the identity. Bahkan ada jurnal khusus tentang language and identity, dan tentang teachers and identity. So here are some topics of research that you need to investigate. Why do you think for the student is important? Karena as I mentioned earlier, it's very difficult for the student to find out the research problem untuk tesisnya mereka, deskripsi mereka. So if we give them, we expose to them many alternative kind of thing or research problems, so they have many things to choose from. Yeah. And then the trend continue. Ada juga systematic review of the impact of formative assessment juga ada. Ini berarti if you see the title, the the theme ini berhubungan dengan library research. Ya, systematic review of the impact of formative assessment. Formative assessment ini penting. Ada formative assessment, ada summative assessment. Maybe for the student yang suka tentang mata kuliah evaluasi pendidikan, so we can invite them to talk about this one. And also language anxiety during online learning. Okay, ini popular. Kalau kita meneliti, mereview jurnal-jurnal yang publish in 2022 or something, maka banyak tentang online learning. And then perceptions of technology mediated language instructions. When teachers questioning strategies in the EFL classroom. Nah, ini beberapa metode yang theme yang dilakukan oleh orang. Maka it's very important to ask the student to review literature, review previous study. Ketika mereka punya satu tesis, satu title atau dua title, maka mereka harus mencari artikel yang berhubungan dengan title mereka, and that should be an obligatory for them. Thanks. Finish. But then, if you want me to go to another, let me share. Do I have some other times? How much time do I need? Do I still have, Pak Arinal?
Yeah, about 15 minutes, sir.
15 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Let me go with this one. 15 minutes. Ini ada kesamaan-kesamaan, some of them, tapi I try to skip it a bit, ya. 15 minutes. Alright. Ini sebenarnya yang saya tulis untuk UIN Antasari. Okay, but I got some. I'll go with this one. Move around. Okay. Ini teori retrospective analysis. Apa itu retrospective reviews? Retrospective reviews is similar to reviewing the previous study, going from the back to the front, not going from the front to the back. Ada inductive dulu, ada deductive, but no retrospective reviews. Ya. Rationalnya understanding research inquiries through systematic review of literature. If you see, sudah banyak orang yang menulis tentang retrospective analysis. Paul, Stapleton, and Kingshaw, Bain, Children, Benson, and some others. Yang menulis apa yang dia lakukan. They try to find out all the previous study sehingga bisa menghasilkan policy yang baru. Okay. Let me go about that. Ini the previous one, it's the one that I already mentioned earlier. Move on. Okay. Okay. Ini dia. Research in language teaching over 2 decades, a retrospective of the first 20 volumes of language teaching research. Ini ada jurnal language teaching research. Q1 is very high index. SGR-nya tinggi sekali. It's very difficult to get published from this one. Dia menulis tentang mereview 20 volume of language teaching research. Apa sih yang sudah ditulis oleh orang selama dalam 20 volume itu? Ya, 20 volume meaning that maybe one volume you got like 5 issues, ya, or something. Jadi cukup banyak yang dia teliti. 359 artikel dia review. Ya. Yang kemudian melahirkan sama dari hasil 359 articles, dia sudah meneliti tentang isinya ada instructional effect, teacher cognition, and lecturer behavior. Ini yang ditemukan dari artikel-artikel orang yang menulis tentang itu. Kemudian 25 empirical article, 24% correlational experiment, 76% interpretive descriptive. Ini yang berhubungan dengan penelitian yang ditemukan oleh si Stapleton tadi. Sorry. The first volume, I don't know if you can read this one. Too small. I just screenshot from the article. Yang paling tinggi, as Mimi mentioned, adalah instructional effect, dampak tentang metode pembelajaran. Itu yang paling banyak orang tulis penelitian tentang itu. Oke. Paling sedikit review apa assessment itu sedikit. Another good thing exploratory practice, tapi yang paling tinggi adalah dari volume 1 sampai volume 20 tentang instructional effects. Apa itu instructional effect? Menggunakan experimental studies kadang-kadang. Apa dampak jigsaw teknik terhadap ini, apa dampak ini terhadap itu. So something like that, that is instructional effect. Apa dampak self-efficacy in language teaching and some other things. Yeah. Let's see 5 years comparison of subcategories under instructional effect. Nah, tadi kan yang paling tinggi instructional effect. Nah, dia akan di breakdown instructional effect tadi yang paling tinggi apa sih? Teaching teknik rupanya. Dan task related. Ya, teaching teknik itu masih menjadi populernya di kita. Makanya kalau misalnya if you want to write down in the thesis about teaching techniques, we need to find out previous study sehingga tidak reinventing the wheel ya. Karena teaching teknik sudah sangat banyak ditulis orang dan bahkan paling tinggi persentasenya. Oke. Ini if you see dari hasil mereview sekian literatur tadi, we can see the move on dari trends people do the research. Pertama sociocultural theory, and then psychology and educational theory. Kemudian ke bawah teachers and learner belief, kemudian learners affective domain, specific language skill. Ujungnya specific language skill juga banyak yang diteliti orang. Ya, tapi untuk level kita S1, teman-teman mahasiswa mungkin you can take specific language skills or lecturers affective domains. Ya. MLJ, Modern Language Journals. I try to finish with this one later on. Okay. Dia meneliti tentang ini, progress in language classroom, research in evidence from the Modern Language Journal yang ditulis dari 1916 sampai 2000. Bayangkan, artikel yang diteliti, yang direview dari 1916 sampai tahun 2000 dia mereview. Children ini betul-betul menghabiskan masanya, waktunya, waktu mudanya untuk mereview ini. Ya, oke. Tetap ini yang ditemukan, research fokusnya ada ini, quasi experimental method, experimental studies, approaches to research methodology, classroom instructional procedures, and then research focus ini ada juga tentang strategies used in communications, intelligence, aptitude, motivation, and attitudes, skill psycholinguistics, experiment and analysis of EFL processing. Nah, ini semua yang topik-topik yang mungkin mahasiswa or we as lecturer can pick up apa yang akan kita lakukan for our research ya. Okay, and then ada the use of technology juga sudah diteliti oleh orang from language learning and teaching a retrospective analysis again ya. Nah, ini kalau kita melihat yang diteliti orang ini tahun 1988 people already do the research on telephones and then phonographs tahun 1918. People do research on television 1665, audio reflectors in 1972. So if we reflect to this previous study, sebenarnya yang kita lakukan sekarang ini, sometimes we just reinvent what people have done earlier. Makanya drawing the gap is very important. Ya. Tapi penelitian orang ini tentu is very effective for us untuk menjadi starting point for us to do the research, of course. Ya, ini si Godsuck Pons menulis tentang pre-recorded television lectures, blackboard and overhead projectors. You know, kita overhead projector dulu, sekarang sudah pakai fokus, dulu pakai overhead projectors. Jadi people have done the research on overhead projectors and blackboard. Dan sekarang blackboard diganti menjadi canvas, diganti menjadi classroom Google Classroom. Diganti dengan some others online learning platform. Yeah. Offline projector diganti dengan Infocus. Nah, people have done this research in 1963. And if you do the similar research, what kind of feedback, what kind of gap that we can draw? Nah, ini mahasiswa bisa saja mengambil penelitian ini, dia replicate untuk kekinian. Ya, replicate untuk kekinian, dia bisa mengambil pre-recorded television lectures. Dulu kan ada di-record dulu, kemudian ini, dan sekarang sudah berkembang teknologinya, tapi apa yang dilakukan oleh orang lain bisa kita teliti. Bukankah in research we have in qualitative ada transferability, in quantitative ada validity. Now, validity is where we show to the people how reliability. We show to the people how you have done the research, and other people can follow what you have done. Sama dengan transferability di qualitative, you write research procedures so well, and then you publish it, and people can look at your thesis, your article, and then they can follow the way you conduct the research. We can replicate. Karena replicate juga salah satu cara untuk mendapatkan ilmu pengetahuan. So you need to give it to the students. Ini yang dulu language laboratory orang sudah teliti ini sebenarnya. Call, beyond drill, people have done the research on this. Intelligent call, computer mediated communication, and teleconferencing. Long time ago, 1960s, abad ke-20 ya, orang sudah membuat penelitian ini. Maka yang kita lakukan, we cannot say I don't find any studies related to this one. To our student, please don't say that word. Yeah. There is no study have been conducted on this issue. People have done that research way before we were born, actually. Yeah, and then we replicate it. So, all right, I'll take a couple of more minutes. I'll finish with this slide. Actually, I happened to review jurnal ini. Dulu ketika saya review dia masih Q1, Q2, sekarang sudah Q1. Teaching English with Technology. Ini menarik ini penelitian ini. It's very popular tahun 2000-an, 2022, 2021 ketika masa COVID ya. Ini di publish, the first published 2001 di Poland. Ini indeksnya, dia Scopus. Ini overview. I want to show you the overview saja sedikit. Di tahun 2020 menulis tentang learner autonomy and empowerment in computer mediated setting. Ini jurnal-jurnal yang ditulis. Fostering autonomous learning, the use of call, mock and flip learning, competencies and digital words. Ini sudah dipublish di tahun 2020. Okay. Mahasiswa yang senang dengan ini, you can show this article and then they can review this, and then at least they can draw the gap. Okay. Audacity for pronunciation practice. Ini ditulis oleh tadi Indonesia, Korea, Indonesia, Spain, Ecuador. Ini penulisnya. Dalam kurung itu adalah penulis artikelnya. And then di 2020 lagi kita melihat timnya bridging call researchers and language teaching practitioners all over the world. Orang Indonesia menulis cyberbullying and block-based instruction. Juga menulis digital readers, learner autonomy, attitude digital teachers of English program, Poland. Revisit tele collaborations via Skype, Japan. Blended learning, Google Classroom, bla bla, rating ability, Indonesia. Ini popular sekali Indonesia seperti ini ya, Google Play, Classroom, and vocabulary acquisition and podcasting, dia run. Yeah. Ini kan bisa memberi ide ke kita. Oh, this is, if you want to use the technology, to do the research on technology, ini yang kita akan lakukan. Story Jumper, online tools, USA. And then well-tested concept of WebQuest, Lebanon, Instagram, EFL writing to foster innocent engagement, Indonesia, Web 2.0 supported project-based learning, Jordan, Indonesia ada juga menulis digital literacy among young learners, the perceptions, Indonesia. So this article banyak ditulis, I move quickly, banyak ditulis dari berbagai negara. So a bit easy to get published. Don't worry about this. I got one published here with 2 published article with my colleague actually. Nah, kita melihat di sini, kalau melihat trends in research using technology, as I reviewed from TWET, yaitu Teaching English with Technology, maka dia menulis teknologi and language teaching tahun 2016. Most of the author wrote about that. And then designing appropriate technology in language teaching in 2017. And then 2018, perception in the use of technology in language teaching. 2019, the application of technology mediated language instructions. And then 2020, technology and autonomous learning. Ini sangat popular dulu. We have the technology, whether we give the autonomous to the student or no, atau bahkan membuat mereka tidak bisa belajar, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And research setting, dilihat di tahun 2020 yang paling banyak menulis artikel di TWET itu adalah from Spain or Ecuador. Yeah. If you see again di tahun 2019 Indonesia banyak, Iran paling banyak, kan? So Saudi Arabia juga banyak. Jadi kalau kita lecturers yang suka teknologi, you can publish here. Tidak terlalu sulit untuk publish, saya pikir, karena memang sangat fokus ke luar negeri mereka ini, ke international author. Ini Indonesia juga makin banyak. Indonesia, Iran juga besar penulisnya. Bahkan you see from UK sedikit dari UK, bahkan banyak dari luar negeri. Okay, and then if you see publication di sini juga Indonesia sudah makin banyak, and then for our information you can try to explore TWET, and then you can try to publish one article to that. Okay, good. Thank you. I think I stop there. Ini terakhir metodologi dan method yang saya lihat dari mereview dari 2016 sampai 2020. Mereka menulis banyak artikel yang ditulis dari hasil kuesioner, quasi eksperimen, and experiments. Karena memang dalam teknologi ini mungkin lebih ke quantitative rather than qualitative. Itu lebih popular because trying to use the effect of blah 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 into speaking, improving writing, and so on and so forth. I think I stop there. I still have so many slides here, but I choose to stop here. Okay. Thank you very much. I give back to Pak Arinal.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Zulfikar, for giving such an informative and interesting presentations. Yeah, we learned a lot from your sharing today. Yeah, as you mentioned, your slide is quite long, so it is please for us if you can share the slide so we can learn from it later.
Okay.
And well, so now we are going to continue this seminar into the next sessions, that is question and answer. As we can see on the chat box, we already have 2 questions.
Okay.
But yeah, I will open for 2 direct questions for people, and then 2 questions from the chat box like here. So if anybody want to ask directly, you can unmute your mic and ask the question to Professor Zulfikar. So we are going to have 4 questions. Anyone? You can raise your hand. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Can
Ibu.
I? Oh yeah.
Ibu, oh yes,
Kedengaran.
please.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear my voice?
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Hidayah Nur, and I'm one of the lecturers in UIN Antasari Banjarmasin. And actually, this is the questions from my college from other university in Banjarmasin because, yeah, because he sent me the direct message on Zoom. But actually, I have the question too for you, Bapak. The first question is for my college first. Please get me some enlightenment, Prof. I got confused with the statement. Qualitative research stand for quality, and we cannot generalize the data. Regarding the data, can we use sample in qualitative research as well as like the quantitative research, or we have to use all the subject without sampling? This is about the sampling in qualitative research, sir. From one of my friend in, yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, and then actually this is my own question. This is related to the condition of our students ya in our university in UIN Antasari Banjarmasin, especially in Tadris Bahasa Inggris, sir. This is about the plagiarism. Maybe yeah, maybe other students ya pasti mengalami juga ya in other university ya, Prof, about the plagiarism. How
Okay.
can you tell me, sir, about the condition of plagiarism in your department, and how can you solve the problem of plagiarism? Because in our university we have the regulation, our new regulation for the students who wants to register munakasyah, skripsi munakasyah, mereka harus plagiasinya itu at least 25%. Dan masih banyak sebenarnya yang bermasalah dengan plagiasi ini, bagaimana sir menghadapinya? Because plagiarism is part of the research, right? And I think that's all for my question. Thank you very much for your very good materials today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay,
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Bu Secretary, yeah, Bu Hidayah Nur. Yeah, I also read the questions here.
Yeah, there is one
It's long
question.
questions written by Yasir Fahmi. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, qualitative research stands for quality and cannot generalize the data. Yes, we cannot generalize the data for qualitative. It's very contextual. So that's why I always mention to the students, the truth in qualitative is determined by the quality of the participants. And the truth in quantitative is determined by the quantity of the participant, of the respondent. Nah, jadi saya menyebut seperti ini, penelitian kualitatif itu kebenarannya itu ditentukan oleh kualitas orangnya yang menjadi responden kita, tapi in kuantitatif kebenaran ditentukan oleh banyaknya orang yang mengatakan itu. It's very democratic, sama seperti democratic kind of thing. Yeah. An example is, say for example, if I give a survey, for example, I write a survey and distribute the survey on, say for example, tentang pendapat dia tentang sesuatu, tentang Antasari lah, for example. How do you feel about Antasari? Alright. Dan kalau ada 200-300 orang mengatakan Antasari itu bagus, dan 150 mengatakan no, tentu kebenaran yang diambil punya siapa? Yang 300 orang itu. And why can we generalize the qualitative or quantitative? Why can we do that in quantitative? Because the way to pick up the sampling itu kan menggunakan sampling teknik. Nah, tidak perlu kita ajarkan itu, nanti di Bu Fitriah di ketika quantitative research akan menjelaskan the sampling technique determines bahwa responden yang kita ambil itu representatif daripada populasi kita. But in qualitative itu kan tidak menggunakan sampling in that way. We use the purposive sampling technique. That one way that we use in the qualitative. Apa itu purposive sampling technique? Say for example, I would like to do the research on teacher strategies in improving student speaking, for example. Maka karena itu purposive, I try to find out orang atau ahli yang betul-betul memahami tentang mengajarkan bahasa Inggris, mengajarkan speaking atau meningkatkan speaking. So walaupun there are only 2 people can do as my participants, mereka akan memberikan jawaban yang secara akademik dianggap benar because they are expert in that kind of things. For that reason, maka dalam hasil penelitian kita pun kita nggak bisa mengatakan bahwa based on my study, all students in bla bla bla, tidak bisa. Tapi based on my research in the context of ini hal seperti itu yang bisa kita lakukan. We cannot generalize it, but it's contextual. Nah, tapi dengan kontekstual tersebut orang bisa mengeneraliskan masing-masing. Say for example, contohnya seperti ini. As I mentioned earlier, saya meneliti tentang bagaimana cara mengajar grammar dengan baik. For example, I use the qualitative. I invite the student, lecturer atau expert yang mengajar tentang grammar yang bagus. Temuan-temuan dari mereka itu I make it, I codify it, I analyze it, and then kita tampilkan itu dengan baik, ya kita report. Nah, dari orang lain yang reading that kind of that paper, dia bisa mengambil mengeneralisirkan kepada dirinya sendiri. Oh, kalau saya juga seperti ini, saya juga seperti ini. So we cannot generalize it ourselves, tapi biarlah pembaca yang mengeneralisirnya sesuai dengan konteks mereka. So to answer the question di sini, how to, ya memang tidak bisa kita generalize because it's very contextual. Makanya di kualitatif bisa 1 orang, 2 orang bisa. In Monash dulu ada 6, ya ada satu guru meneliti 6 orang participant. Only 6 participant, but you see ethnography, in qualitative, dan itu with that 6 people, dia bisa mendapatkan disertasi terbaik di tahun itu di Monash. Meaning that in qualitative is not the quantity is important, but the quality of the person who respond to our inquiry is much more important. Makanya digunakan purposive sampling. So we chose someone because we are on the purpose why we chose that particular person. Saya pikir that is short of my questions. Mungkin plagiarism, tentang plagiarism tadi. Ya, jangankan mahasiswa ya, mungkin kita pun masih terpengaruh ya. Apalagi zaman copy paste sekarang ini ya. We have the Turnitin kita di sini. Yang masing-masing kita punya Turnitin. Nah, mahasiswa untuk menghindarkan mahasiswa dari menulis Turnitin plagiarize, we put the thesis in the Turnitin itu, sehingga kita bisa mengantisipasi dari awal. Ya, sudah Turnitin. Tapi yang paling sering di di plagiarize oleh mahasiswa adalah literature review, saya pikir bab 2-nya. Ya, bab 2-nya itu yang sering di plagiarize. How to solve it? I have no answer actually. I see ada dari dosen-dosen dari I see Bu Ratna Sari Dewi dari from UIN Jakarta kayaknya ya. Maybe Bu Ratna can share the experience bagaimana cara menghilangkan prevent student from plagiarize. Silakan mungkin Ibu with your experience di Jakarta atau and you may also respond to the first question tadi Ibu. Silakan Bu. Ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Profesor, Bapak Profesor Zulfikar. I'm sorry, my voice is in the problem. I've just joined this workshop Tadarus in Ramadan related to the research. Research spent in ELT. I have mentioned just now, we as the lectures here, actually lectures of academic writing. So it is I'm very concerned about this very much. So when our student learn related to writing, especially a kind of powering the paragraph, essay, even it is how to write an article, they must know some technique how to escape from plagiarism. Right, Professor? Yeah. So the first thing that we lead them to do is they have to know some technique. How to do citation, for example, and then how they know already about how to paraphrase, how to do summarize, right? And also they have to know how to do quoting. So I think this is a kind of strategies to have to escape, to get rid of from plagiarism. It is the very concern about this one, and also they have to read mainly the result of research related to how they letter organize their writing, not only to know what we call that syntax, for example, right? But they have to review some literature related to the result of research in a Scopus, index Scopus, in the journal that has been indexed by Scopus. So they learn all together how they do this, not only what I have mentioned, 5 things just now, but also they have to review some what we call that, some article, published in Sinta and also Scopus. They learn, automatically they learn how they organize the idea. They also have critical thinking. How this research built up, and how this research has what we call that novelty. So I think that there is what we call that the experience from the student to have genuine research and also we call that to add not only knowledge in writing, but also what we call that the attitude, the attitude how they have to do critical thinking and also have a thick in the writing. I think that's how for me, I think that some of us, the member of this workshop also have a different idea or different experience to share here. Thank you, Prof. Also, Bapak Ibu, others, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank
Waalaikumsalam
you, Bu
warahmatullahi
Ratna,
wabarakatuh.
for insightful point actually. Ya, harus mengajari mereka tentang academic ratings. But then some of the students, they don't know what kind of if copy paste is considered plagiarized. They don't know that some of them, because mereka berpikir setelah mengcopy pastikan and then citing the sources, they think this is not plagiarism. And I think most of us, some of us think about that. Plagiarism itu setelah kita memberikan referensi, it's not plagiarized anymore, but actually that's plagiarism, right? So maybe Bu Hidayah, you have to, in academic writing class, like Ibu Ratna, for example, we really need to tell the students apa-apa saja bentuk plagiarisme itu. And there are also many research about that actually.
And also Professor, know that, and also we know already some application, right, to make it as easy to do like samples, paraphrase, summarize. But the final thing that we have to do, we must do, I mean, students do also to do it, what we call that, seperti apa, harus di-proofread lagi oleh manusia. Jadi kita tidak harus percaya 100% dengan hasil mesin, tapi kita juga harus mengulang kembali, membaca kembali. Kalau masih kita tidak yakin, kita masih bisa meminta bantuan kepada teman dan juga kepada dosen, kemudian kepada kolega lain. Mungkin begitu ya. Oke.
Itu ada quillboard, mungkin kita semua tahu.
Quillboard.
That quillboard sometimes they go crazy. They just twist around the sentence and then making it doesn't make sense at all. Then kadang-kadang. Jadi betul seperti kata Bu Ratna, we have to really review again and proofread, karena quillboard itu tidak bisa digunakan oleh orang yang tidak bisa bahasa Inggris. We have to really good in English, then we use the quillboard, and then we know where's the mistake apa. Karena mereka kadang-kadang mesin tidak do anything else, kecuali hanya mengcopy juga. Oke, ada one question lagi ini Bu Hidayah di dalam ini menanyakan tentang tidak boleh menggunakan old referencing. Ya, karena begini, if untuk Tio from South Kalimantan mengirimkan pertanyaan, and begini jawabannya seperti ini. For history kind of thing, yang berhubungan dengan history, kadang-kadang kalau kita menulis sejarah, justru yang the old one is better, because sejarah ya. Tapi kalau kita menulis yang berhubungan dengan teaching methodology atau using technology in teachings, I think di bawah 10 tahun. This is recommended. Ya. Kalau misalnya untuk ini terserah, untuk what we call it for the history, kajian sejarah itu boleh. Makin tua dia makin bagus ya. Makin tua makin matang. Tapi kalau untuk pengguna teknologi, metode mengajar, I think makin muda makin lebih ini ya. So I think ya itu Tio ya. Ning Setiawati kayaknya ya namanya ya. Ning Setiawati muncul di Zoom tapi tidak muncul videonya. I think that's my very short comment, Tio. Ini dari Ibu Arinal, ada lagi Arinal. Oh, Pak Arinal. Got confused with the statement.
Yeah. It's already. It is just
Okay.
summarized.
Oh, summarize. Good,
Yes.
good.
All right. I think one question.
Yes,
We
please.
can still have one question, right? Oh, we have question from Mr. Dandi Nurhan on the chat box.
Okay. On the chat box ada dari Imam. Is the research in critical discourse analysis on news coverage text relevant to us as English language education lecturer?
Okay.
Ya, ini saya pikir Pak Imam ya. Is doing research in critical discourse analysis on news coverage text is relevant to us as English language education lecturer. And I think it's very relevant. Karena apalagi kalau di konteks kami di UIN Ar-Raniry, di prodi bahasa Inggris bisa meneliti tentang news, discourse analysis, bisa linguistik, bisa literature, bisa teaching methodology. Jadi itu lebih karena keuntungannya karena tidak ada prodi terpisah. In some university, they got the sastra, they got pendidikan bahasa Inggris, sehingga mereka yang sastra hanya berhubungan dengan sastra, yang pendidikan bahasa Inggris berhubungan dengan pendidikan bahasa Inggris. But in my context, I think in Antasari as well, but I don't know Antasari, apakah doing critical discourse analysis itu masuk ke dalam pendidikan bahasa Inggris atau tidak? In my point, yes, but I don't know konteksnya di Antasari. Okay. Alright, ini okay. Alright, I think Pak Dandi ya, Dandi Nurhan. Izin bertanya apakah bisa penelitian yang dikondak dari survei TPAC sebagai contoh yang generally adalah penelitian kuantitatif apakah bisa dikondak? Okay. Yeah. Can we do quantitative with the qualitative? I think it depends on the research questions. Depend on what determine a particular research, quantitative or qualitative, is in your research question, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah. TPAC, if you say, for example, you want to ask the perception of the teachers atau lecturers, apakah mereka menggunakan TPAC atau tidak? Is right now some of us, my colleague doing research on bagaimana penggunaan TPAC di kelas. As long as they did it in wawancara, and research questionnya membutuhkan wawancara, this is qualitative. Say, for example, the question is, how do the teachers perceive the concept of TPAC in language learning, for example? And this is qualitative, of course. But if you do the research on whether TPAC concept is relevant in the process of teaching, it could be quantitative because you need to see the impact. Yeah. If you want to see apa komponen dari TPAC yang sulit bagi guru untuk mengintegrasikannya, it could be qualitative as well. Karena cuma bertanya, tapi you want to try it, you want to test it, the teachers, it could be quantitative. Maka TPAC, teknologi, pedagogical and content knowledge, right? Di situ ada technological knowledge-nya, ada pedagogical knowledge-nya, ada technological content knowledge-nya, ada pedagogical content knowledge-nya, sehingga dipasang semua menjadi sebuah konsep yaitu TPAC. So untuk menjawab pertanyaan tersebut, apakah bisa atau tidak, depending on what kind of research questions you have and what you want to identify. Jadi itu bisa dengan kuali, bisa juga dengan kuanti. Oke. Alright, ini ada juga dari sisi Aulia. It's difficult to find out the novelty of research in the area of ELT for our students. The same or similar research topic have been repeated by students. What should we do with this condition, Bapak? Okay, I think ini semua lecturer, please help me to answer this question. It's very interesting questions. Ya, siapa-siapa aja lecturer di sini. Tidak bisa dilihat dari wajah karena wajah kadang menipu. Ya. Yang lecturer di sini Bu Hidayah, Bu Afifah, Pak Arinal, Bu Ratna. Ada lagi yang lecturer Bu Laila ya. Bu Laila lecturer
Iya,
juga.
boleh.
Ada lagi yang lecturer di sini.
Ada Ibu
Please
Dini.
help with this question ini. Bu Laila mungkin mau membantu menjawab Vivi. Dia bertanya tentang bagaimana cara mencari gap di ELT because most students have written similar issues almost all the time. Ya, apalagi tadi ketika saya mempresentasikannya bahwa teknologi yang kita pakai sekarang pun sudah diteliti sebelumnya, bahkan tahun 16-an sudah diteliti, 1960-an sudah diteliti. So what should we do? Any comment dulu sebelum saya merekap saja nanti. Bu Laila, you want to say something?
Oke, thank you Pak atas kesempatannya. Basically bagi yang the student yang still in semester 5 or 6 is they not really understand about the gap actually. So they ask me as advisor, academic advisor. It one or two or three students can be answered, but all students will ask me about that. Sometimes make me confused, and you have to find out yourself. I think ask them to why should be ask me gitu kan. Jadi sometimes make better. I think the students should be taught by the lecturer who teach about maybe the methodology of research, the writing, academic writing sebelumnya gitu ya, harus diceritakan, diberitahu sehingga ketika datang untuk try to make or write draft proposal draft should be understand about that. But the gap is, I think that something bahasa Indonesia aja Pak ya supaya pas yang ngomongnya.
Boleh Ibu.
Oke. Yang membuat something mahasiswa tertarik kemudian tapi berbeda dengan hal yang mereka inginkan di dalam penelitian. Pak, pemahaman mereka berbeda kok berbeda Pak. Gimana sih mencari perbedaan? Mencari perbedaan kan banyak penelitian sudah, gimana bedanya lagi Pak, cari-cari Bu susah gitu kan kata mereka. Tetapi saya kira saya menjelaskan bahwa kalau sudut pandangnya tentang skill masih banyak skill yang bisa di-explore, dijadikan atau penelitian, kemudian dari metodenya atau dari media ataupun assessment, anything can be make different with the previous research actually atau previous study. Tapi ya tadi mungkin karena penjelasannya tidak intens betul-betul kan dalam posisi yang masih kadang-kadang sibuk mengajar dan lain sebagainya, mereka memang tidak puas apa gap yang diinginkan. Saya akan menjelaskan kalau sudah memang itu jadi bimbingan saya Pak. Jadi mereka harus tahu dan mencari tahu dan harus ada di proposal atau di penelitian gap yang benar-benar terjadi dalam penelitian mereka dan previous study-nya. Sehingga perbedaan dan permasalahan yang membuat mereka yang harus melakukan penelitian itu. Kan kadang-kadang penelitian itu berdasarkan ketemu judul, ketemu topik, ketemu apa saja, bikin judul, bukan karena permasalahan yang muncul gitu kan. Sehingga mereka tidak bisa menggali, menemukan sendiri apa sih permasalahan ketika mereka membuat topik tertentu. Karena memang sering diawali berdasarkan hanya bertemu judul, hanya bertemu kawan, ngomong-ngomong, sudah. Kadang-kadang sekolah apapun subjek penelitiannya tidak mengerti, tidak tahu bakal dijadikan subjek penelitian, sehingga kadang-kadang setelah sudah ke lapangan ada yang tidak keberatan, ada yang tidak suka, ada yang tidak mau, sehingga kadang-kadang tidak efektif lagi penelitian, seakan-akan hanya formalitas. Demikian Pak pemahaman saya sebagai
Thank you Ibu for sharing. Bagus, memang agak sulit. One way of mungkin begini, ini ada pertanyaan dari Muhammad ya, Muhammad Nabil. Mungkin satu caranya, try to pick up like 10 or 7 or 5 lah artikel yang berhubungan dengan kajian sebelumnya. Try to analyze that article, draw the gapnya dari artikel itu saja. Misalnya based on the research conduct by blah 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 blah, you can find out gapnya dari metode mengumpulkan data, dari participants, dari konteks, dari couple of misalnya research questionnya you bedakan dengan yang apa dilakukan oleh orang lain. Anyway, untuk S1, our research is, when we do research in undergraduate for bachelor program, bachelor degree, is not bukan untuk merubah dunia ya. Ini hanya untuk lulus dapat ijazah satu itu ya. So for all the student, please don't make yourself hard in doing this. I told all my student. Jadi you di S1 ini hanya belajar meneliti, belajar melakukan penelitian. So do something small, simple, but then do it correctly. Sesuai dengan standarnya penelitian. Pikir. Karena ini kita masih belajar. Kita plagiarism situ harus kita rendahkan. Dan gapnya bagi mahasiswa mungkin you don't have to really sangat berkeringat mencari itu ya, bolehlah. Jadi find small thing, populasinya beda, konteksnya berbeda. Kalau orang melakukan di sekolah sekolah SMP Anda lakukan di Sanawiyah atau di Aliyah, orang melakukan di kota Aceh, di Aceh misalnya, kita melakukan di tempat lain. So that's kind of thing for the time being, that's already okay. Saya pikir itu diterima Bu Afifah gitu ya, boleh ya, nggak perlu ini betul ya untuk mahasiswa ya.
Iya, nanti akan diteruskan dengan pembimbingnya masing-masing, Prof.
Ya, jadi asalkan mereka agak sedikit, at least they get some point, new things, they already write, they start writing the thesis. Jadi itu sudah bagus sekali. Ya. Kemudian ada dari Muhammad Azmil ini, ada pertanyaan tentang, ada kalimat saya tadi bahwa banyak saya temukan student write experimental research, tapi they don't know that most of them make a mistake. Apa mistake-nya? Salah satu begini, bahkan ini terjadi dengan dosen. Saya bilang begini, how come, apakah setiap hipotesa harus diterima atau ditolak? Some students say harus diterima, Pak. Bahkan ada dosen mengatakan harus kita terima, Pak. Kalau nggak terima berarti salah dong penelitian sebelumnya. Saya bilang ini yang salah. Saya bilang, if hipotesa harus diterima, ngapain pula lakukan penelitian lagi? Why should we do the research if setiap hipotesa harus diterima? Kalau penelitian orang lain bahwa, say for example, saya kasih contoh sedikit. Ini yang sering dilakukan kesalahan oleh mahasiswa. The use of jigsaw misalnya, in improving speaking skill. Taruhlah, kita mengambil banyak penelitian sebelumnya dan itu mengatakan bahwa jigsaw itu efektif dalam meningkatkan speaking. Alright. Tapi ketika kita teliti, rupanya hipotesa tertolak. Artinya apa? Jigsaw tidak terlalu efektif. Sebagai orang mengatakan, kok tertolak berarti harus diterima dong. Penelitian sebelumnya kan semua mengatakan efektif. Masa penelitian ini mengatakan tidak efektif? Kalau itu yang kita lakukan, meaning untuk apa kita lakukan penelitian lagi? Hypothesis is an academic guess. Kita guess berdasarkan penelitian sebelumnya. Nah, untuk menciptakan sebuah ilmu itu bisa dengan mengkonfirmasi, confirm the previous finding. Bisa jadi membantah temuan sebelumnya. Itu kan jadi ilmu. Ya. Jadi itu kesalahan mahasiswa. Jadi mereka memaksakan diri, bahkan mereka menambah nilai post-testnya supaya hipotesanya diterima. Nah, ini kesalahan yang sering dilakukan. Jadi ini yang bertanya Nazamuddin Azmi, please don't do that ya, for the sake of supaya diterima. Bahkan ada yang mengatakan gini, dosen menolak Pak kalau misalnya hipotesa saya tertolak. Jadi this is not correct. Jadi mahasiswa sometimes they don't really know. Dia mengatakan begini, lebih sulit Pak melakukan penelitian kualitatif karena mewawancarai daripada melakukan penelitian kuantitatif, eksperimen. Saya bilang justru berbalik dong. Seharusnya eksperimen yang lebih sulit. Because you need to go to the field, you need to ask the permission to go to the classroom, you need to do the treatment. Anda harus mengajar menggunakan metode yang Anda ingin teliti. It could be 6 meeting or 4 meeting, and that's difficult. Kalau wawancara cuma persepsi, panggil 2-3 orang temanmu, wawancarai dia dengan bagus, you try to analyze the data using coding technique, and then selesai. And ini yang sedikit mahasiswa sering melakukan kesalahan karena beranggapan bahwa hipotesa harus selalu diterima. Oke, good. Kemudian thank you. The last one ini dari Dandi Nurhan. Pernah kedua lagi nih, oke, Dandi Nurhan. Ini menanyakan tentang community of practice COP bisa digunakan untuk menganalisis experience of learners English proficiency in joining club. So far kita buat COP. Okay, you can do that. It's okay. Dia tentang COP. Apakah community of practice bisa digunakan dalam English club? It's okay. You can do that. Walaupun contoh yang digunakan oleh orang sering ke Learning for In-Service Teacher Forum. Jadi karena experience of learners English proficiency juga English club juga forum, sebuah komunitas. You can use that. Okay, I think yang terakhir. Okay, I think selesai Pak Arinal ya.
Iya, yes, Profesor.
Okay, thank you. Tadarus tadarus ilmiah sudah selesai. Thank you untuk semua dari Banjarmasin. I've been there a couple of months ago actually, juga mempresentasi di pasca sarjana. Tapi nggak ketemu Bu Afifah dengan Bu Hidayah atau Bu Arinal ya.
Oh
Saya
ya.
diundang oleh Pak Mujib, Dr. Mujib ya. Okay. Thank you very much for having me here, and I hope ini bisa menjadi sharing pengalaman dengan kita semua. Terima kasih Bu Ratna sudah membantu saya tadi, Bu Laila sudah juga membantu memberi penjelasan. Terima kasih Bu Hidayah sudah membacakan pertanyaan dari participant. Thank you Bu Afifah for having me here, and thank you Pak Arinal for introducing me to the audience, and thank you all for the audience, bagi lecturers maupun bagi students. Ramadan Mubarak. Mudah-mudahan kita diberkahi oleh Allah. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Profesor Zulfikar.
Sama-sama Ibu Rana.
Baik, terima kasih banyak Profesor Zulfikar for today's seminar. For participant, please wait a moment. We will have a photo sessions, ya. So in this photo sessions, I really ask you to open your camera, show your face to us, and then we take a picture. Yeah. Thank you very much, for those opening the camera.
Panjangnya rambutnya.
Wow, we are so happy that today we are. Oh, Dandi Nurhan is someone I know. Wow, my God. Nice to meet you, Mr. Dandi.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Arna. Thank you very much, Professor Zulfikar.
Thank you, Pak Dandi.
Ya, baik Bapak Ibu, silakan siap-siap ya. Mohon siap-siap. Ini slide yang pertama. Di sini kita ada 5 slide ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi mohon sabar dan tetap tersenyum sampai slide terakhir. Siapa tahu mungkin ada Bapak Ibu yang di slide terakhir ya. Kita mulai sesuai dengan tampilan yang ada di laptop saya ya. 1, 2, 3. Ini slide pertama ya Bapak Ibu. Sebentar saya simpan dulu. Kemudian ini slide yang kedua. Siap-siap, slide kedua. 1, 2, 3. Slide yang ketiga, Bapak Ibu. Oh, ini kayaknya para mahasiswa nih, tidak ada videonya nih. Ayo silahkan siapa yang buka, yang bisa video dibuka ya. Oke, 1, 2, 3. Ketiga, slide keempat. 1, 2, 3. Dan slide terakhir. 1, 2, 3. Ya, sudah. Ya. Ya, terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu semuanya. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Profesor. Terima kasih para partisipan yang berhadir pada hari ini.
Izin live,
Alhamdulillah.
Bu, ya.
Nggih, Pak, terima kasih banyak Pak.
Oke,
Terima
sama-sama. Izin live, Bu.
kasih.
Nggih,
Oke.
nggih Pak.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, terima kasih yang berhadir. Ibu Ratna, terima
Iya.
kasih ya Bu.
Dan
Makasih Bu
semua
Afifah,
Bapak
Bapak
Ibu
makasih Bu
semuanya.
Bapak
Hidayah,
Dandi,
makasih
mantap
Pak
Bapak
Arinal.
Dandi.
Thank you very
Terima
much for
kasih semua Bapak
coming.
Ibu untuk
Thank you
Nggih,
very
partisipasinya
terima
much.
pada acara
kasih.
hari ini.
Nggih. Iya, ya.
Inquiry. Thank
Pak.
you.
Thank you. And then, oke, kita lip aja ya.